Don't listen to him.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com.
All right, and here we are for Broker Than You. I'm your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully, and with a new shirt on, the man himself. I know, I see it.
I love it.
Wow.
This was I went for the memorial, like the send off for Memorial Stadium.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when it was tearing
when
it
it
down,
was demolished.
yeah. So we went
that
to
is cool.
Right.
Forgot when that was. 20.
Yeah.
That was 2012. What?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. That's where the basketball facility is now. So that's Nedvonne Young, fresh himself, the entrepreneur extraordinaire, owner of the FreshFold Laundry Company, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And then we have the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Laban Marsh of Marsh Real Estate.
Thank you, Steve. But I do feel like maybe Fresh is just folding family laundry here and getting like I think my wife might watch this and be like, "Yo, why aren't you folding like Fresh?" But it's part of his business. So
I think he's doing it to be
that's not
just
household
to get
story.
you in trouble. Yes,
Yes.
I totally agree.
Business multitask.
Yeah. Everything is to get Laban in trouble.
Yes, I
It's easy
totally,
to do.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So,
Oh, man.
so we had Steve on last week, and he was phenomenal.
He was.
And we are going to talk a little bit today about guerrilla marketing, which is something that we got into with Steve a little bit last week. And he was all for it. He thought it was a great idea. And just so everyone knows, Fresh, or I guess Laban, you're Fresh. What is your definition of guerrilla marketing?
I mean, guerrilla marketing is kind of a term they coined that come from like kind of guerrilla warfare. Like it's just an unorthodox, kind of like a in-your-face surprise attack. Like, so it's kind of.
Is it aggressive?
Yes.
Somewhat, yes. Yeah.
High energy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to. I mean, dude, Pete Finch is the epitome of guerrilla
I know he is. He's Better Call Saul.
Yeah. It's definitely like shock and awe. It's in your face kind of things, but it's very relatable. And you also do it like it's been done throughout history. Look at things, they piggyback on stuff. Like you take an opportunity. I think one of the first time, the Beats by Dre, those headphones, I believe it was there was an award show that was like sponsored by like Sony or something. And
Right.
Sony got pissed. It was like I think it was Sony and somebody, a lawsuit was pending because because Beats by Dre, all of the talent, all of the artists and stuff they just were giving out Beats by Dre. So it's basically a big marketing thing. Everybody had these Beats by Dre headphones on, and you're at a competitor event. So you put yourself in a position. So that's one form of just kind of like piggybacking on other things, right? So, like if you was a guest on a show, like somebody was a guest on a morning show, and they're just, they're wearing their stuff. All the athletes do when they put those, that's why the NFL and some of these professional leagues say, well, you can only wear socks.
Dude.
And then they get fined when they wear other things. Yeah.
And a lot of times, the last thing late before you go in.
Yeah.
A lot of times, those athletes, whoever the sponsor is, they'll pay the fine. They're like, oh, what's the fine? They're pre-calculated.
They don't care. Yeah.
The fine is $25,000 a game. Okay, well, you're gonna make millions off of this. So we'll pay your fine. Continue to wear our cleats or wear our socks or wear our headbands or wear those things and pay the fine.
Well, and then you have I think the ultimate. I didn't know. I just thought of it off the top of my head, but I think it's the Super Bowl. It might be in Indianapolis, the mattress guy that says if you buy a mattress and we win the Super Bowl, I'll pay. Or he does some lottery thing where he offers what seems like a ridiculous thing, but then he bets on one team for the Super Bowl. So if he wins, he can pay the people with that. But if he loses, then people just already paid for the mattress. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff. Another one I wanted to bring up local because he's a buddy of mine. He does work for a competitor. But we've talked about that billboard, I'm not number one, you are.
Yeah.
This dude put number one realtor according to my mom. Right? Yes. Like Ben Smith.
I love it.
He
That's
coaches
cool.
my son. But it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, everybody's number one. We always say we're not number one, you are. But what a great, according to my mom. And then
it catches people's attention.
Right. I think so. That's where it's probably guerrilla marketing is more like the unconventional marketing. And yet, especially if there is something, it's amazing how much only 50% of the society might get the joke if you're doing like an inside joke or something or a pun. But that's something where anything that'll get the attention and people start talking about it. Right. I think that's where there is that. And then Fresh, to your point, as soon as you were talking about these athletes, last year, Drew was on a Puma circuit. Dude, I've never wore Pumas. I mean, I'm all right if you're a pole vaulter or soccer, but I didn't know Puma does hoops. So they had to wear Puma shoes. But what would happen is you get to the tournament, and if one of the kids had a pair of Nike socks, like a swoosh on the sock, they didn't fine you. What they did is gave literally free foul shots for the number of infractions you had. So I'm not kidding you. One of the games started where they shot 8 foul shots. Because
you can't do that.
Listen, it is.
Yes, you can. When you host a tournament and you putting the money up, you do it.
Yeah, you can't find these kids. So what they do is they penalize them in the points in the game. And I didn't understand it first year. I'm like, what are we doing? But you could not. They would make you change shoes if you try to wear Nike, Reebok, whatever else. But not only that, you had to use a Wilson basketball. They didn't want a Nike basketball. So
I've seen that too.
But
football.
then on the other hand, you would have a team. They just set 4 games. There's no playoffs or anything. There was a team that didn't even show up. It's like, hold on, you're going to penalize us for wearing the wrong socks, but a team doesn't show up and they just get to play the next time. So like what their ramifications were in penalties was a little outlandish, but it just goes to the point where what Puma Circuit is trying to do is have everybody wear Puma. Literally, like I'm a parent, so I could bring my Nike backpack, but they didn't even let kids use Nike or Reebok backpacks. And to me, it's like, bro, you're twisting my arm to use Puma. You're not wearing Puma because I like Puma. And I've already.
Is that considered marketing, though? I mean, that seems like propaganda.
Well, branding is marketing and really is propaganda. I mean, you're selling your services or product in an unconventional way and potentially in an unconventional niche, if you would. Like one of our first big advertising opportunities when we opened 18 years ago is that the local OHL hockey team, the Erie Otters, wanted to do an inflatable tunnel. And the guy that was running their marketing knew that we were a young business, newer, and he thought we'd be open to investing in this. And it was early on, so it was one of our bigger ones where it came with season tickets and the whole package. But, like, I can't tell. Like, Drew and I were at a football game because they let us do a video intro to say, this is your Erie Otters lineup. And Drew would always say, as a little guy with a lisp or whatever, he'd say, go Otters. You know what I mean? Go Otters. And so we saw somebody out at a football game, and they're like, hey, you're the kid that does the Otters intro. So, you know what I mean? It's like, now, did anybody buy a house because we sponsored the inflatable tunnel? I don't know. And that's where, like, with marketing, you want it to be trackable. You want to know.
You need metrics. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, you watch a show and they say, use this code, right, to get a 20% discount. The reason they're using that code is they want to know who bought what from when. Because if you have a code, this is the 10:30 p.m. advertisement on CNN, if you will. And so they have a code associated with the commercial so that they can track how often are people seeing our commercial and going and buying the product. So much of your marketing needs to be trackable. And I remember when we were with Prudential, our broker at the time did this wine fest. And he gave out like pens and maybe wine glasses or something. And he came back from the weekend of marketing. And my mom says to him, well, how many leads did you get? And he's like, well, what do you mean? Well, how many people's names and email addresses
contacts,
did you get from giving out all of this free swag? None. It's like, dude, the reason you give this stuff out is so that you can get their information. A drip campaign to start marketing to them via email.
Did he have cards or anything to get their info?
I mean, he might have had cards, but it was one of those things like you just have people at a booth, you would have them sign up and, you know, we'll send you a free newsletter. But the whole idea of marketing is to get leads and potential leads and get them in your database and Steve mentioned a CRM. You know what I mean? Like a contact resource management system for you to do what they call drip campaigns. And anymore, people don't stick to drip campaigns unless it's authentic or there's something more tangible to it. People understand marketing so much, but we're not to beat a dead horse with guerrilla marketing, but it's just doing things unconventional, but focusing on a targeted market. And then you got to make sure you're tracking what you do.
Now, Fresh, that is why, from my experience, digital marketing has been so effective and kind of taken over as far as, you know, ROI is concerned compared to radio and television, at least for the price point. One of the tools that we used when I was at Town Square, we did email marketing, email blasts. So you would pay, I believe it was $700, and you would get 2 email blasts a month of 1,200 emails. And the digital marketing company had an email list. And whoever you wanted to target, you could pick a zip code. You could pick a circumference around your business. Some people would do that. You could pick whatever locations you want. You could pick the demographics, age, interests, whatever. And the way that they structured the emails were personalized, so nobody knew that it was a blast, and it would not go into the spam folder. That was the biggest thing. And out of the digital marketing tools that we had email marketing, we had SEO, search engine optimization, SEM, same thing with the search engine. Then we did the email marketing. Then we also did geofencing,
Yes.
which people misconstrued, and I ended up not using as much. But email marketing seemed like I didn't think it would work. I just figured people either wouldn't look at the email or just gloss over it, delete it. And email marketing was one of the most successful forms of digital marketing. And I was very, very surprised to see that. And the other thing that they did was actual mailers. They would do mailers if you wanted to do mail to people, actual flyers or whatever about your business. They offered that, and that was successful. So that was a little bit surprising to me. But I believe, Laban, that would probably be a form of guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's definitely marketing guerrilla as far as
you're blasting 1,200 people,
right? And it is very systematic. I think an interesting spin, because I wanted to look it up. I saw this recently, and this is one of the most genius ways to market with a purpose. And what I'm talking about is that Pokemon GQ game, right? I mean, do you remember that time people were going around to different locations and taking photos of the Pokemon stuff?
Pokemon Go, you mean?
Yeah, Pokemon Go. Sorry, I need my reading.
It said GQ. I'm like, okay.
Bro, that's how bad my eyes are. But listen, this is what it says. It says Pokemon Go created detailed 3D world maps by leveraging crowdsourced data from millions of players who submitted roughly 30 billion images and locations of real-world landmarks, parks, and streets over 10 years. This data was collected to train a visual positioning system for AR and robot navigation, essentially turning players into voluntary real-world surveyors. So,
wow,
they weren't looking to. This is where the marketing part is that Pokemon Go.
They were getting the information.
They were making it seem like, oh, this is just a fun game. And if you recall, like there's that meme of that heavyset guy that's saying, if they want to win, they're going to be spending thousands of dollars on Pokemon. Like, so they were using it, right? They wanted to buy into these tokens or whatever else. But ultimately, it was for a backdoor data acquisition.
Yeah, to gather it. Yeah.
But do you not, like, and I didn't play Pokemon Go, but if you played Pokemon Go, you were a part of fueling this entire opportunity of crowdsourced data in a way that I'm curious to hear what other companies have done something similar. Basically, it's a front to, hey, you play this game, and all the while you're playing the game results in us retaining all of this data that no one else without 10 years and 30 billion images can create the same sort of thing. And I know as we talk about AI, it does such a better job if you provide more information, but all of this really is marketing or branding. And I think that's where so much of what you have to offer, if you understand what it's intended for, you can not necessarily manipulate the masses, but I mean, I don't think many people start playing Pokemon Go we're under the understanding that this company ultimately had a plan to gather data in a way that if they tried to hire people to do this, the expense would be so high, and yet they made money off these people while gathering the data. It's probably the single best marketing tactic, whatever it is that you can do. So, I mean, I don't know what opportunities marketing that creates, but like, I guess what I'm saying, when we go to talk about that, the wine fest and the broker that gave out all this free stuff, but didn't get anything back. It's like, you have to have an understanding of what marketing is about. Marketing is to generate paying customers and leads. And again, good leads. But I get text messages and emails all the time. I mean, I probably got one while I was sitting here of somebody telling me, hey, do you want 30 listing leads in your area? Because it's like, no, you can't, dude. We don't even have 30 listings in my area. So I think that's where, again, we're broadly covering marketing.
Well, it depends on the area, like you said, too.
Right,
I get that.
It depends on how you go about gathering information. And I don't know how much of that needs to be disclosed. And I'm sure when you check the box for Pokemon Go's app, somewhere in that fine print, it told you, hey, we're leveraging your data.
Well, that's what I mean. Even online, when you accept cookies, I mean, that tracks you. That always tracks you. And, Fresh, I was talking about how one of the most successful tools of digital marketing that we used at the last company I was at was email marketing. You could
How long ago, though? Sorry, how long ago?
This was 2023.
Oh, okay.
So you could pick a location. You could pick zip codes. You could pick a circumference, and then an age, demographic, whatever. And you would get 1,200 emails that were sent. We would be able to track and know how many were opened. We would know how many people actually clicked on the link, because we would put the website or landing page for the company. And then we would know at least how successful that was. And then from there, we would do a second blast. So you would get 2,400 emails in a month. And I never thought it would be successful, because most people, and it had a spam blocker on it. So it didn't go to a spam folder, and it was written, obviously, to be personalized. And I was surprised how well it worked. It was one of the more successful tools. And they said between that and then basic mailers that they also did work best than some of the other stuff, like I was telling Laban, like SEO and SEM. But do you believe like email marketing is a form of guerrilla marketing?
Well, you can kind of do guerrilla marketing within email marketing, right? So guerrilla marketing is kind of like piggybacking on the success of something else, or piggybacking on the exposure to something else.
Okay.
So like
when something else is going on.
So a lot of times what happens when you see, like at these games, you see somebody streaking and they have stuff on there, like, when which they don't show it anymore, because the whole thing
is they won't film it, right?
Pokerstars.com.
Yeah, they'll have something, and then I think that's one of the things happened to people. Somebody went in and they had something on their shirt. They had a website, and the website blew up. That's the guerrilla marketing. So the reason why it's great. Okay. So
that's why we need you streaking, Steve.
Yeah. So
got it.
So when you talk about can it work? Yeah, it can work if you have like if in your email blast, like back in the day, they used to have when they used to how the pay-per-click ads were back in the day, like Amazon used to just be like a flashy flash. So if someone like because essentially guerrilla marketing should be more like cost effective,
right?
Where you don't have to put in a ton of money. That's why it's really good for small businesses.
Right. Okay.
So you it's something that you can like, you don't have to spend a ton of money to do. Like, you just know, like there could be a like if you, let's just say if you go, how normally if you go to like a BNI group or a some kind of group, and you have your shirt of your company or whatever you're saying, and you get your time to do your elevator pitch time.
Yeah, I hate
marketing.
it.
You're marketing, and no one, and you're just talking. You acting like you don't even know what's going on, but you know what's going on, right? and you're putting yourself in.
I used to get so mad at BNI. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but those are things you could do, and it's other forms other than just kind of like. Sometimes you just kind of do things kind of off the cuff. Like some people know where, like people, we all are creatures of habit. So for instance, if you ever pay attention to like certain news, the local news, like a lot of us might not watch anymore, but they normally will always show certain things. They're always on a certain location, similar locations all the time. If you know where they're going to be, and you just position yourself or your advertisement right where those cameras are going to be,
that's going to pick up attention.
Yeah. So it's just it takes a little research, and it puts you in position to get exposure. What you about to say, Lane?
So when I ran for state representative in 2018, I lost in the primary, thankfully, but my opponent, had I gotten through the primary, had a personal residence in the city. And so I had a friend that was renovating a home right across the street from this guy's personal residence. And so I put a sign in front of my buddy's yard. But when I did, I had him take a picture from his house of me holding the sign. And in the background was my opponent's personal residence. So anybody that knew where he lived, it's not like I was clowning on him, but it was one of those things where I was subtly and positioned for the photos so that somebody would see his house in the background, me holding my state rep sign. And it was low key, like if you know sort of thing. And so that's where, I mean, you want to obviously reach the masses with guerrilla marketing, but even when you throw in those slight like innuendos and things, the right people that pick up on that are gonna, put a little feather in your cap for creativity and things like that. So I think, again, if you could, not the shock and awe necessarily, but something where like even that, hey, I'm number one based on my mom, like those little, again, things, anything that gets people's attention and in a good way. Like if you use animals and babies, bro, it's crazy the number of hits and likes you get. But the other thing that I was going to say to Fresh's point, where trying to make it as inexpensive as possible, one of the things that we always did was that Marsh Madness. And so what we did as far as a family, like we had the advertising and stuff like that, printed up some things that wasn't too costly, but then we would give away a gas card each week in the month of March. And then at the end of it, we bought a TV, but then we had a relationship with a furniture company that provided a $1,500 gift certificate to the winner. So it was, the winner was receiving $1,500 basically from us. We didn't have to put $1,500 up. The furniture company wanted to piggyback with what we were doing on marketing, get the people in their showroom. And in theory, when people knew in early March that, hey, this leads to a gift certificate at John V. Schultz, people in March would go out to John V. Schultz and start shopping in hopes that they would find it. And so again, if you can provide an opportunity to get your clients through another colleague's store and help, I mean, it goes back to that law of reciprocity. The more that you give out and give opportunities to, dual branding, a lot of times like with Meg and her franchise, it's collab lending, but then they can brand their own entity under that. You know what I mean? So I think that's where with guerrilla marketing, if you partner with somebody that has ancillary services or something like, hey, every buyer gets a free ice cream cone. I mean that, and then team up with the ice cream shop that says, yeah, if they hand you this coupon, invoice me later. Like I'll come in and pay at the end of the week and here's the free code. Yeah, there's just so many ways. And again, the more local you can get to support other small business owners, that BNI and the networking groups can work for certain people, but it still comes down to once you get in there, what are you offering? And what am I getting? Because everybody loves something for free, but we all know nothing is really free in life. So keep your costs down, but get that name and branding and marketing out there for people.
So you're really piggybacking off of other big events and trying to get noticed.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Yeah,
That's
and
one way.
It's one of the ways. But like we have a local event in Erie that's called 8 Great Tuesdays, where they bring in a band on Tuesday nights. It's free to any of the public to come watch it. And the way it's free is that you have sponsors for 8 Great Tuesdays, which means there's I think it's July and August, each Tuesday night, there's a free concert. So they find 8 sponsors. Well, one of our friends that owns a company decided to team up, and so they will get so many, opportunities for branding and things at this Tuesday night event where tons of people will be there. And they know tons of people will be there because it's free. So I think that's where, does it make sense for them to market there? Yeah. I mean, you got anybody that is anybody wanting to come for free, and then you get that, what we call top of mind awareness. And that's the difference from lead generation, where you're taking names, getting email addresses, all that, versus top of mind awareness, meaning, hey, they might not use your service, but they're seeing your name, that you're supporting the
right.
And there's something to be said. And, it's like, I know one of the elevator pitches that we give is, hey, I realize you might not be buying or selling a home in the near future, but you very well could know somebody that will be. And if you hear somebody talking about that, if you could just provide them my name, I'd be happy to take care of them. And we always appreciate your leads. So again, I think that's that, throwing it out there like, hey, I know you might not need the service, but if you know anybody that is, please, provide my name and the opportunity. So how you use it, information or top of mind.
I'm going to show you this. Dave was so kind enough to create this for me. Maybe this could be used for a form of guerrilla marketing. He thinks that I could enter the Paralympics.
Bro.
So he created this video. Yeah. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, you threw in.
Dude, this is real. It's AI.
Community in the Para and Spectacles. From Worcester, Mass, Steve Cully. Steve's training has consisted of grilled cheese sandwiches and peanut butter, and he wanted to let everyone know that he is a non-binary athlete.
Bro, yes. That is guerrilla marketing at its finest, bro. I love that the dude threw the shot put in the wrong direction.
In the wrong way, yeah.
But that is true with AI. Honestly, AI
they made that.
I went through and asked AI to help me with a logo for a pole vault club. And I mean, they could not have ever watched a pole vaulter in history. So that's where it's like, hey, this ChatGPT is good, but it doesn't have all the data it really needs, because that technique you wouldn't even be able to find technique like that. It's so backwards.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But
just a brief thing real quick. So just so you know, man, we talked about this before. All GPTs are not created equal. No. I would say with ChatGPT, it's the new, it's like
Kleenex.
It's the old one now. It's old.
Yeah. So I mean, it is compared to the other ones out there.
Like Claude or Perplexity or something like that, and you put that pole vault stuff in, they'll probably be able to pull up some things that make a lot more sense. But then you also got to know which platforms, for instance, do what. So like Midjourney is probably better for what you wanted, right? Midjourney or Wall-E, that they do more art type designs and stuff. Yeah. But just ChatGPT, that's why they'll have like access to those things. Some of the GPTs will have partnerships or access to these other ones that give you those. But that's just kind of what that's kind of what you do. And even with some of these companies, they kind of can participate in guerrilla marketing by default by being very notable. When you search, GPT just scrapes everything. So if your name pops up more and more and more and more, you're going to be known as somebody, you're going to come across, at least to AI, as a notable or an authority, so it's a way you can manipulate even technology and market kind of that way as well, kind of guerrilla market to a GPT, because it just scrapes information. So if you just made sure your name, your business, or something was more repeated a lot and always present in a certain type of search, then that's how you could become. It'll give you more exposure, which is what the purpose of guerrilla marketing a lot of times is to get exposure, for you to be more exposed, more people know about you. And then to Laban's point from earlier, is you want to have ways that you can track to see the effectiveness, right? If you streaked on at that game, and then on Sunday, and then all week, all of a sudden your visits to your site spiked and everything like that, and you get more members, then obviously something like that worked. But you need to be able to track and see the effectiveness of said guerrilla marketing.
Well, and that's where you track it so that you know where to spend in the future too. You know what I mean? Like if you've done 3 things at different times of day or different days of the week, and you realize that, hey, the Tuesday at 8 p.m. is where everybody seems to be on, that's when you put your money towards that, more money and things like that. So that's the reason you track it, is so you know where to spend appropriately.
One of the questions we got, how would you train, or how do you train a sales team to execute guerrilla marketing or a guerrilla idea without it feeling like a gimmick? Because it kind of sounds, some of the things we said are gimmicky. Or is guerrilla marketing gimmicky?
I think sometimes it is gimmicky. Like there is a local plumber that has now stretched out into Cleveland and Buffalo. And it was like the corniest commercials ever. The dude would come on with like a cape like he's Superman, a giant ranch light. I mean, it was just so it wasn't cartoon, but it was just like over the top silly. Do you know what I mean? And yet those are the things that people watch, and they don't know anybody else to call. They've seen the commercial so much, and there's a cute slogan or song. I mean, how many of these songs can we sing that associate to a product? And those are just age-old tactics, but they work, and that's why people continue to do that. I think part of it is, like, there's a local car dealer that does these commercials to where if you saw him in public, you would think, man, this guy, he is nothing like he is in his commercials, because he is personifying a used car salesman. But when you meet him, totally down to earth.
Yeah, he's the character.
You know what I mean? So I think part of guerrilla marketing, I don't like calling it gimmicky, but it is something where you're just trying to get traction. And what are people want? Entertained. And I think that's where, if you can find something that kind of clicks or plays into your business name, whatever it is, that it is guerrilla and kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
But
the other thing I wanted to ask was, like Nedvonne, Dave uses AI heavily for a couple of the products that we have with Husky Hub and Prospect Podcast. So his AI consistently posts on Twitter different things to promote whatever we have going on. He's got transfer portal intelligence, and it will target certain kids, certain prospects, certain college athletes, and it'll rattle off posts in an hour. You'll get like 10 posts in an hour. And it's just, if you look at Dave's Twitter page, it's just boom, 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 boom. It's just nonstop with it. And he uses AI, and the AI does exactly that. It makes the post individualized. I don't know how it finds the Twitter handles and the targets that it does, but it's been really effective with getting people to notice the product and sign up for it, because he's got like 4 of them right now. Is that considered guerrilla marketing?
I would say yes. So listen to some of the stuff that you're saying. So when you look at some of these, think about it. We all, when we when we tag or we do when we hashtag or we at someone, that's guerrilla marketing. So because you didn't get permission from them, or so you ever see like a hashtag that has nothing to do with a post? It's because when people search the term, say if like, we're doing UConn football, but it's
if you put like Donald Trump in there,
but in the post you're doing, let's just say if the Olympics were this summer, you go, and it's a hashtag Summer Olympics, Summer Olympics 2026 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're putting Summer Olympics, you're piggybacking on the Summer Olympics, right? So that's because everybody is interested in Summer Olympics. So when you start to end feeds in different places, that's popping up anywhere. So when you do a hashtag, you essentially are doing you're doing guerrilla marketing, or you at someone.
Well, yeah.
The hopes that they will respond. Okay. You at somebody. So
I do like that. I'll put Donald Trump in there too, just for attention.
But I think one of the things that my wife and I didn't realize, it was probably about 10 years ago, where we had a babysitter who was at Penn State University, and we said to her, like, if you were to search for a home or a mortgage, what would you do? Would you go to Google and type it? She's like, well, I'd go to Instagram and just check the hashtag like Erie real estate, and we're like, nobody is using these hashtags. And if you're telling me the 20 somethings aren't using Google, they're going to Instagram and going to a hashtag. I put, hashtag real estate, hashtag Erie real estate, hashtag Erie PA, hashtag Erie. I mean, it is something where I didn't even realize, and this is where you need different generations within your organization to help you realize, like, hey, dude, that nobody searches our age at Google. They go to Instagram or they go to TikTok.
Well, Twitter especially.
Yeah. Well, but part of it is understanding, like, who are you trying to reach in your clientele? Because we know Facebook works for a certain demographic better than Instagram, better than LinkedIn. So I think understanding who your targeted market is, but that's the beauty as you talk about these different opportunities, like the fact that you can get so specific these days. Like, I'm not too far out from when we were spending 50, 60,000 a year on the newspaper. And the best you can do for the newspaper is tell me how many subscriptions there were. I have no idea if somebody read a sports page only, or there was no way to track that data. Whereas now, to your point, you can geofence, you can target demographics. I mean, there is so much more opportunity to get what you're trying to sell.
Well, geofencing, I kind of got away from because I honestly felt it was scary and a little unethical. So it worked best for car dealerships.
Sure.
Car dealerships, because what you could do, you could pick between 10 and 15 different locations that you wanted to geofence. So people would geofence their competitors. They would geofence other popular locations like the mall. Mm-hmm. But car dealerships would pick on other car dealerships. So if you look at your phone right now, you have your location settings on.
Some of them, yeah, sure.
So the way it works is if I go to Bob's car dealership and I'm using geofencing for Jim's car dealership, I'll get a notification on my phone for Jim's car dealership, and it'll be like a little banner ad that'll come up, and it'll say, we're offering 25% off on this or that or some deal to try to pull them away from the competitor. And, it worked in a lot of ways, but I just thought it was, I thought it was unethical because you're tracking people's location and they're getting notifications on their phone about whatever business that you're promoting. And I thought it was a little shady because everyone has their location settings on their phone.
Well,
that's how people get caught in crimes. I mean,
and that's where the marketing folks understand this and leverage it. I mean, we were in Indianapolis this weekend for the basketball tournament, and the first few days back, I'm on Facebook and I'm still getting
in your
ads
feed
from Indianapolis,
Yeah.
and I'm getting like their news, some of their
Yeah.
news. So it is interesting how when you go places or you're around these different things,
Well, the algorithm changes significantly too. We were talking about trying to figure out the algorithm of Facebook and Instagram to be able to get your posts up there without, boosting it. Like my guy Frank Cristiano, the pizza guy who does the Rebel Show, he did a ad that he videoed for TikTok and Facebook, and it absolutely exploded. It was just him talking about a new deal. It was a large pizza, 50 wings, garlic knots, 2-liter soda, and a dessert for like $50. And Frank, he sounds like a used car salesman. He's great on camera. But it got like he paid, he boosted it, he got over 100 and something thousand views for it.
Wow.
And at least it was trackable for him because he saw an uptick in business. Now, you don't know that it came from that, but I obviously see the correlation. But that obviously, Fresh, is it just boosting a post considered guerrilla marketing? Or
No,
that's
not really, because it's more like you boosting a post. You just kind of you're paying.
You're just reaching and
you're paying to do a certain thing. One of the cool things about guerrilla marketing, most of the time, is very inexpensive and very cost effective. So when you're not,
that's what they were saying. Yeah,
boosting it is sometimes boosting. A lot of people see boosting as a waste because there's other ways to
mechanisms to do it.
To get your post to do what you want to do, opposed to just kind of like boosting it. And just to touch on what you mentioned about the geofencing, I mean, I think it's to each his own. I think it's very effective, especially for like.
It was very effective.
So from a standpoint of, for like in my business, I have a geofence set so that people from Raleigh don't solicit our services because we don't have that reach yet, right?
Okay.
So it's like, okay, so when it markets or it reaches out to people, it only reaches out to people, say, within like a 20-mile radius.
Yes.
So that it doesn't do that. So it just depends. Now, that
I agree with. Yes.
It's not. So I wouldn't say it's not the tool that I would say is unethical. It's like anything else. It's how you use it.
I agree with that. Right.
So if somebody uses a tool for an unethical way, then like that's
the way you use it.
Taste.
I agree with 100%. I didn't like the idea of knowing the people's location. You're targeting people who have their location settings on, and they go to the mall and they get a pop-up of the business, or a lot of them targeted their top competitors. And if you're going to eat at this restaurant, you would get a pop-up with a banner ad for that. But that's what drove me nuts. That's why they say like the ethics and optics around guerrilla marketing, does it ever cross the line?
Is that a question?
I mean, yeah. I don't know that it crosses a line. I mean, if again, the whole idea for marketing is to drive business and revenue to you. So the repercussion is you have no leads and you look foolish to the general public or something. But I mean, I don't know that, you know what I mean? I don't know it can be detrimental per se, but it's going to give a perception, and it depends on what that perception is. And that's where I go back to babies and dogs are always great. So like a lot of people will do something and the proceeds go to the Because You Care, shelter or something like that. So I think that's where, I mean, Yeah, you want to be clear with your message, but I think so much of that is all about, and this is Meg's company's collab for collaboration. You know what I mean? Like, I think in business these days, you realize, even in your marketing, it's dual branding, trying to help. Again, it's that law of reciprocity where you want to see other businesses thrive, and if it can help you as well, and it makes sense for both to do that,
Right.
another cost savings approach. But I think, again, it gives the perception, and I think, and I always say I like to be a hype man, because one of the best, the essential, what was it, 22 immutable laws of marketing, and again, just sticking to the fundamentals of trying to generate leads. And again, the collaboration should be beneficial to both parties.
Correct.
Basically, with the exposure, you're trying to get exposure. And that's where they say, all press is good press. That's not true.
No, that's not true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the idea is you're getting out there and people are talking about you now. And again, are you able to then finish up and make money out of that lead or opportunity?
Now, Fresh, what about trying to, because, you have to have a sense of creativity with guerrilla marketing. And is it something where, you have a team or yourself, that just writes down ideas, does some type of brainstorming to come up with ways to do it? Because as you said, it's inexpensive, it's a budget. And then you also have your own personal network and connections that you can use and try to take advantage of. All that is, like you said, ways to save money. So if you have the creativity and can use your market, use your networking, but that's what I would struggle with. Where does the creativity come from? Is it just you sitting down and brainstorming? Is it having someone on your team that you rely upon?
I think so. It seemed like you asked two questions there. One was, where does the creativity come from? The creativity just comes from life, man. I think life and kind of what's trending. So we are in, everybody gets to talk about 15 minutes of fame, that term.
Yeah.
So whatever's trending at the time is usually would be good to market. I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, they used to do these it was like flash mobs. Like people would plan out.
Yeah.
It looked like regular people, and they'd just be all in Target, and then everybody would start breaking out into a certain type of dance or something.
Yeah. No, that was huge. Right? Yeah.
Again, that's guerrilla marketing, or the biggest one we all probably remember is those smoking ads. Remember the smoking one? It was the anti-smoking one. It was like this. It just had all those people just drop down, and it was like that's how many people die a day from smoking cigarettes. And it was like orange. It was like orange lettering.
That. Yeah.
It was like I think it was like stop smoking and no nicotine or something. Or it was something. It was very effective. It was shocking all. Scary.
That's pretty intense. I saw one where it was like an orchestra that was, I think they were all, maybe it wasn't an orchestra because that's instruments, a choir or something that was singing the national anthem. And they did it in this big like hotel lobby where all the rooms were open because they were going to be singing in the next few days or weeks. Right. And so they did like a public performance. And then everybody claps, and then they're like, hey, come watch us at the theater on these days. So, like, that's a type of guerrilla marketing kind of that's where I thought you were going at, the smoking thing. That definitely was not put on by Marlboro.
No, of course not. I mean?
No,
Fresh.
The crazy thing is that when you said it was not put on by Marlboro, what is they made a movie about it. What was the smoking company that they made the movie about? It has a name. It's like they're
wasn't it William Morris?
Yeah.
Morris.
Yeah, it was William Morris.
Right.
Believe it or not, the smoking companies or I think it was William Morris one was backing those ads.
Propaganda.
I think they were required.
No, they paid the ad, like they would pay for the ads.
Yeah.
In their mind, just think about it.
I think
just
they were
for
required
nicotine in general, it's so addictive. They don't really care. They don't really care. Like they know, like, hey, we can put the money towards here. People still going to smoke, even if it doesn't really. It's not going to really hurt our bottom line too much, because they know. When I used to teach health, man, I was so surprised when I found out when we used to teach about, when we start teaching about the drug levels. I forgot the classifications, drug classes.
Yes.
Nicotine. When we talked about nicotine. And to find out that on average, it's over 5 or 6,000 chemicals in a cigarette.
Oh, it's highly toxic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes. And then it's the chemicals that's in it. And then what happens is the chemistry of it, when it hits, like when fire hits it and it turns, like that creates even more and more chemical reactions. That's why the numbers even go up.
I mean, that's why smoking marijuana is much healthier than actually smoking cigarettes by far. Fresh, we had a question about, have you ever had a guerrilla stunt or tactic backfire? And if it did, or do you know of one that backfired? And were you or them able to kind of, as you say, pivot and protect the company?
What was that Corey girl's name?
Corey, you're not going to let that one go. Corey Richens.
So I would say not
marketing gone bad.
From my
she didn't market
gone bad. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything personally, but I can think of plenty of when people.
Yeah.
It happens a lot more now because they may not look at it. It is technically guerrilla marketing. So on social media nowadays, you see these people pulling a lot of these pranks.
Oh, I hate that.
So, what they're trying to do is
you're right, Fresh. I can only see that giant right bicep. There we go.
Yeah. So when they pull they pull these pranks.
Yes.
To get exposure, to get for people to kind of to get more followers or whatever that is.
Yeah, to get the views.
Sometimes, you see people get choked out. You see people get knocked out.
Oh, so you do.
That's when it backfires, when you thinking you get around the wrong person, where you think a lot of times people think like the camera protects you. Oh, I'm on camera. This is a video show. And I mean, I've seen some things go real bad on some of these, like when people. So when that drives me nuts when people do that. So the answer is yes, because if you look at it, this person is marketing themselves. They're like, they're a prankster, they're a prank show. They get more followers. People get followers. Your followers, you could monetize it because you're getting the followers from YouTube, and people could start advertising things like that. So yes, it happens. Me personally, no, but I mean, you see things go wrong or things don't go the way people thought it would go. I think you had some things where somebody I remember things happen on like live TV or award shows. That's why they have those delays. They got those like 5-10 second delays.
Yeah. No, they have to,
because of the different things that have gone wrong throughout history when people try. That's why, again, so if a streaker went to nowadays, back in the day when a guy who did the pokers.com thing, I think he did a great job. Some other people, that went right. But the person who, I remember it was a couple years ago, remember the guy who got streaked, they didn't put him on camera, but they showed, it was at a football game.
Yeah, he got charged. Yeah.
Just popped him down. And then I think he broke some ribs or something like that. And so yeah, it didn't go well for that guy, right? So that's happened several times at sports events where people will do it, and they get arrested, they get charged. I mean, it's a big deal for sure. I mean, it's not anything minuscule. We will be right back, and we'll finish up.
Down south, we have Julius Williams, Jordan Harris, and the rest of the team of the Trench Mob. They train offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps all across the country. They have sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. They have sent the highest percentage of kids who work with them to Division I schools on scholarship. To work with the best, go to trenchmobfootball.com. Nedvonne Young runs the FreshFold Laundry Company in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a high-end laundry service. You book online, put your laundry out in a clear plastic bag. They pick it up, wash, dry, and fold it for you in 48 hours. They also offer an expedited service if you need that as well. They have an online subscription model, weekly or bi-weekly, where you can get your laundry done that way. They offer deals for college students. So if you want your laundry done, you can do it in your own dorm. They have a pickup and now a delivery service. So you can have your laundry done without leaving the comfort of your own home or dorm room. To sign up, go to their website, my-freshfold.com.
All right. So I'm going to give you a couple rapid fire questions. Laban, best one-line pitch for a gorilla stunt.
Oh my goodness. One line pitch? That's not what I was expecting. I am not. My critical thinking cap is not on. Man, a one-line pitch?
Or I guess it would be one idea for a gorilla stunt.
Yeah, that'd probably be better. What's a guerrilla marketing idea tactic that comes to mind that you think would be effective?
Okay, I'm going to do what my wife does at a restaurant and pass it to Fresh and let me think about it.
So I would say a tactic. I mean, simple. So I'll give you like two very simple. A simple, effective one is, again, we talked about it earlier, using hashtags or adding someone.
Well, like Fresh, do you get annoyed? Like, because anytime I do a podcast and I have your ad on it, I put you in it. At you. Yeah. Does that annoy you when you get notifications that you're tagged?
No, I wouldn't say it annoyed me. I know what it is for a purpose. So no, it's not okay. Like but the thing is, if I'm adding, if you can get an overkill, but let's just say if I know that someone, let's just say if I'm in the industry of just to say real estate, and then you remember the guy from was it Selling New York, like Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan. Ryan. Yeah,
Ryan,
I know you're.
So one of my colleagues I used to work with back at Platinum Properties in on Wall Street, Captain Uniger, he worked with Ryan for some time. So if I was like, I saw it was a great property. And again, if I'm in New York, and then Ryan, who's on social media, and I said something, and I wrote a post and was like, oh, Ryan would love to put this on. I think Ryan would do well with something like this on the next season of Selling New York. I just did that, and there's nothing he can do about it, but I just exposed him. And he might see the post because it pops on his name.
Yes, and his notification.
And he might agree. And he might say, and you may get a call saying, hey, I would love to put this one on the next season, or something like that. I would love to get in on this. I think I have a perfect client for it. You might even just get a sell, like, oh, you know what? Somebody from my office, this is a perfect deal for someone. So things happen. Like you get served. So yes, that's something. That's a simple way. Just again, using a hashtag or an at someone, you just pop in there, jump in without any permission, and it just happens. And that it could turn out to be a good thing. So that's one simple one.
All right.
And that gave me time to think of one that I was a part of that I thought was excellent. And unfortunately, the guy who did it is a Michigan fan, so I'm not real thrilled. But a local attorney was opening a food truck called the Big Cheese, which was a grilled cheese food truck. And so what he did
And I love grilled
is,
cheese sandwiches.
listen, I
What you
actually,
remember from the video.
yes, that's right. I did hear that.
Yeah.
Which is why this plays in so well. But my daughter recently was talking about maybe running a food truck. And it's like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, what this guy did was that he knew when he was opening, it was sometime in April, and it was the same year I was running for state rep. But what he was doing is he was having a auction for the first grilled cheese sandwich to be produced out of his food truck. So he's doing this big grand opening event, and he took a week, I think it was a week ahead of time, to put this auction out there, of which I won. I think I paid $330 for a grilled cheese sandwich. But that $330 went to a charity of my choice.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So like the highest bidder got to choose. So it's like I didn't pay $330 for the grilled cheese. In theory, I did. It was a tasty grilled cheese, but the $330 went to an organization that helps parents who've lost children. And so it was something where that is a great guerrilla marketing technique. If you're doing a grand opening or something, auction out whatever product you sell, the first one, and do it not for you to get yourself started, but to complement another. And he didn't know what organization I was going to choose, but the organization I chose happened to also be Michigan fans. Did not. I think that was part of the reason we lost this year, is because I threw too much at Michigan.
No, that's okay. No,
but it was a great guerrilla marketing technique. He got a lot of buzz. He got different people to bid. And listen, I was there to have the first grilled cheese, but other bidders that didn't win also came and supported the food. You know what I mean? So it's like you're getting traction, understand what you're doing it for. But especially if it can tie into an organization or a nonprofit or some organization that could really use the help, people are more willing to support it than they just think they're sending you on vacation. And that dude does drive a nice Porsche. So it would be hard for him to argue that he needs the money per se.
Fresh, what is one metric that you will always track, either in marketing or guerrilla marketing?
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Just I would say it's kind of like a twofer, like leads and then conversions.
So okay. So it's regardless of what you're marketing, it's always going to be the leads that come from it.
Yeah, you got it's the leads and the conversion. So you want to know because your conversion rate is very important.
How many you get off of that, right? Yeah. Okay.
And if I could piggyback that real quick though, if your conversion rate is like 90%, you might want to think about repricing your product or service. Like, you know what I mean?
Because it's too low, because you're
well,
getting
I think those are the type of metrics that you should be paying attention to, because again, if whatever you're offering 100% or 90% of the people are doing it, like try to figure out why. Now, maybe everybody just wants that, but a lot of times it is maybe underpriced, and maybe you're doing that strategically and then going to raise that, kind of gradually. But you have to be careful on the other end too. If you try to push a product or a membership and you're saying, hey, if I hit 100 memberships at $50 a pop, I make it. Okay, well, what if you just sell 200 at 25?
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
So understand, like, if you come in too high or too hard, you might not get that traction. And so it's understanding what you need to make your nut, and then what is profitability. And that's all really knowing your numbers. And when you're starting, it's hard because part of it's, you on the fly, you're learning. But that's why you want to kind of, and align is under promise and over deliver. That is your guerrilla marketing 101. Under promise and over deliver.
Absolutely. Fresh. I was going to say for me, I have had a lot of success now because I'm able to market on YouTube TV for sponsors. They create, their video ads. I can target a certain area, and I've been running the ads there. But I was questioning a metric to track other than viewership, because it's worked for them. They've seen an uptick in business, but I can see viewership from it, and impressions.
What about
So
engagement? Is there?
That's what I'm saying. I don't. The really, there's no engagement with it because it's an ad that runs on YouTube or YouTube TV. So that's why I was asking Fresh.
You can make it. I mean to cut you off, but
click through.
So Laban touched on something, which is so engagement. Like it has to be an end goal for it. It's similar to when he mentioned like the guy gave out all that free stuff, but wasn't really tracking. He wasn't getting anything in exchange for it. So if these people you getting exposure, let's just say your ads are popping up, or these people's ads you're popping up, but they don't have any like clickable links. They don't have a call to action, right?
Yeah.
They don't have call to action, and they don't have some kind of something that's capturing information. So you got to have a call for action and capture information. Like on a video is click right here, you point up, or click down there. It's somewhere. Follow the link in here, or you got to give them something.
So I can put a link in the video ad.
Should be able to.
Yo, so let's just say if that person ran the ad, you should have them say, click on the link click on the link to this video. Just tell them to add that in their video, because if they're you can't just really say go to my website anymore, right?
No.
You got to say
create a landing page. That's where you create a landing page that you can create a domain specific, and then you can track who comes through that domain that gets it. I mean, there are definitely ways but it is vital to track.
No, but I was asking how am I able to, like, if I have them do that, how do I add a link for people to click on in the video, or is that something I put in the video description?
That's like kind of standard for like all kind of media and stuff now. Like you can have it even with ours, like you can add stuff to our stuff to like a link to Marsha Marsh, or you can have a link to that click on.
I can put it on the video.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm about 99% sure, and I've never even looked at the back office of any of the stuff that you post. But if you're putting it on Instagram, or you're putting it on any of these places, you're putting it on YouTube. How many videos have you seen on YouTube, or how many shorts or quick ads that say click below, click at the link in the bottom? Like that's.
But I think you either have to put it in the comment, like the first comment. That's what I see with our local newspaper, and like they'll put it up there with what they're going to promote, and then the first comment is click this link. It'll take you to wherever you need.
Yep. In the comment section.
It may not be in the video per se, but the video tells you click the link in the comments. Yeah.
Like if I do that, is that accurate?
Well, let me see.
I want to see freshfold.com, right?
Yeah. Now I don't know if you click on that, like I'm trying to click on it right now, and it won't. It's not
that you have to put. Yeah, you could. That would have to be a clickable link when you do in the editing part. When you actually launch the video on, or you put a comment into the video.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so I can do.
You know how you do those ads and you send us those quick videos, those
the clips. Yeah.
The clips? Yeah. Put it in the thing for the clips. Say, put for real estate in the Erie, PA area.
Yeah, because I target both your areas.
Yeah,
so
you put that.
I can put the websites in.
Yeah, so you can do that for any people that's advertising. When you post their stuff, just put that in
put the link in the description.
Yeah, at the very in the description or the comments. You got to put it somewhere where it's click on it. Or the show notes. A lot of times you could do with us. You could do it in the show notes.
Yes, I can do it in the show. I can do it in the show notes. Okay, all right, that works. What would you say is the best platform for amplifying guerrilla marketing, or even amplifying a stunt, so to speak?
You got a label? You want me to go?
No, I mean I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have as much insight as you probably do with your AI and everything on that.
I mean,
it's got to be TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. I mean, I would just say social media in general, but TikTok is definitely. But it's like remember.
It depends who your target is, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest. Yeah.
It could be social, like any kind of social media. I just
say it is social media. It is social media
because it's there. It's in your face. Like you don't get to determine it. The platform determines if it's interesting to the people based off of what these people look at, and they're usually pretty accurate, right? So they keep showing you more and more of what you consume to the point to where. Yeah,
that's how the algorithms are created. But I would say YouTube has been the most successful for me with the sponsors because you can target a certain area, you can target a certain demographic, you can target household income, you can target families, you can target interests. So the ads are unskippable and they only show up to the audience that you target. So that is why I think it has worked well. Now you can also do it on Facebook. I just haven't had as much success.
What about the difference between advertising on YouTube TV versus YouTube?
YouTube TV is amazing. I mean, you have to have it took a while to get there for me. With you have to have a certain number of followers.
I would figure as much,
And I just started a YouTube channel, I think in December, I think it was. And once I crossed 20,000 followers, I was able to go on YouTube TV.
Okay, that's cool.
Are you at 25 yet?
Yeah, I'm at 25. Yeah.
Hey man, we got to start celebrating some of these milestones, man. 25.
Yeah, but it's not.
I don't have a plaque.
I have
to give you the plaque. YouTube will give you a plaque once you get, I think it's 100, right? 50.
Yeah. You have to get 100 to be monetized, and that would be the goal. Because I know Dave is at 1.5 million. And he gets paid a significant amount of money because he's at 1.5 million subscribers. So it's tough to get there. But being able to have that platform is good for telling other businesses to market with you because you have followers, and now YouTube TV is a whole different world. Now you can get on network television. I mean, it'll play your ads on network television because
you can do it on Roku. They got so many different platforms. Probably even on Fire Stick, probably down to Prime. But Roku, sure, I haven't seen him. And some of these other apps too, like Paramount Plus.
Yes,
some of these places you could get, and they'll do local.
Yes,
so everybody's getting in on it, man. Everybody's getting in on it.
Yeah, because I'll look into Roku at Amazon because with YouTube TV they'll run a certain amount of local advertising. So Laban, for instance, in Erie, Pennsylvania, if there aren't a lot of local advertisers with YouTube TV, if we ran an ad for Marsh & Marsh on YouTube TV, it would be all that would be played when there were local ads. Like you'll see the same ad over and over and over again because in some local areas they're not taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
And that is what kind of worked out I did it with Sean Rabinowitz, and I did it with Andre Dixon in Hartford because nobody was really advertising and they had good videos. So they're getting on YouTube TV, which has 80 million subscribers, and a lot of people use now because it's cheaper than cable.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say has been working great. Now, this is another question that people always want to know. One audience, one demographic that you think is the most important to target, because everyone wants the either 18 to 49 crowd or 21 to 49 crowd. They think, that is the demo that like television networks check to see where they're at. But, people, which blows my mind because I think people 50 and over are the ones that have more disposable income.
Yeah,
But,
for me, it's like 40 to 60 because I'm looking for the two-sided client. And by that, I mean, your 25 to 40 could be first-time home buyers and they're buying one home. 40 to, and then 60 and over, they're downsizing. So they're selling, renting or moving out of the area. So your 40 to 60 is your move-up buyer, as we call it, meaning I'm buying something and I have to sell what I own to buy that. So that's a double transaction. So makes most.
I just had an idea. I don't know if this would make sense to you.
Shoot, give it to me.
So a lot of times I always see these 55 plus communities or these retirement communities.
Yes.
And a lot of times, you ever thought about if you guys could market yourselves to be like the the brokerage to sell and move those products?
I mean, see what happens there when you start.
Well, they usually have to give up their home
into
to the
demographic,
state.
but you have to be careful with discrimination. Like
no. So I'm just talking about because these communities like if there's a 55 plus community, they have it doesn't have. This is just another like stream or branch from your business. Let's just say if you had someone who this is a developer that's developing a community, they put in 300 new 300 units for elderly, and it's catered to like for them to have like golf carts and all of these other things. That's what the community is. It's a 55 plus community, but normally they try to have like sometimes they bring on like management companies and they have people do the sales, but they're not that good, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are. Like I'm just thinking, like if you ever thought about, like, hey, you market yourself like, hey, we can do your sales for you. We can do the sales for you. It's just turnkey. You don't have to worry about. We do all the marketing. We're top in the area. You can see our stuff. We just do, this is what we did here in Erie. Let's just say Erie might not have one, but it might be somewhere close by, and you say we could do that, and you basically have set someone up there. People are coming to the community already. Yeah. A lot of the market is already budgeted out by the developer. And all you're doing is selling
the resource to help get it. Yeah, I mean, I can if you had a good relationship with that developer that says, "Hey, we've got people coming in here that want to buy a unit, but they're nervous about having to sell their house." That's a great referral opportunity for sure. I think the way we've tried to position ourselves for those opportunities, Fresh. A lot of those 55 and older communities are HOAs. And so like we manage 2 HOAs locally. I know. I feel the same way, Steve. But
you hate HOAs, yeah.
Well, it's a different personality. They want catered to. They want, you know what I mean? They don't want to mow their lawn. They don't want to paint their house. It's a different demographic. So it's probably a more high maintenance clientele.
Yeah, right.
But they have the money and they want the services provided at a level that, matches their cost. And so, again, I think that's where you almost got to white glove them a little bit, which is okay. But getting in with those HOAs that, again, are they privately owned? Like what you're talking is more a developer that's going to hold them to rent them.
No. I
know. And that's where it's like, I want to, but they're trying to develop to get them into their neighborhood, but they got to sell their, existing home, which is the opportunity. And with an HOA, I can then eventually, once that gets developed out, now on the resale side, you hope that if I help sell your house to get in here, now when you're ready to sell this, you call me again to sell it. So it's getting that toe in the door, and then you have to prove yourself and show your value and worth. And I think the more you can then go out there and say, yeah, well, we manage other HOA communities. And so we know the process that they're going to be getting into, and we can help them transition out of their single family into this 55 and older community. So there's no doubt if you are the expert and position yourself with niche like opportunities, it's gonna, you want to become the expert. And it's like, well, everybody that lives in this neighborhood uses Laban, so that's who we're going to use.
Right. Right.
the hook.
Well, I think there was a lot of good information here learned about guerrilla marketing and marketing in general, and where we're going in the future. Great episode. Fresh. I mean, would you say right now that you see digital marketing becoming the best tool or avenue to go, whether it's social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google Ads? Do you think that's, better than doing a TV commercial, better than doing a radio ad, better than newspapers?
I would say
because
yes.
it's trackable and
I would say yes,
Yeah.
because
Targeted.
everyone has a phone and almost everyone is on social media. Not everybody watches TV.
No.
I put on it and not everybody has, like you said. Just think about it. How many the U.S. population? Just the U.S. population is what 300
million, 330?
330 million or something like that. So, and if I heard you right, I thought you said that the subscribers on
80 million. Yeah,
about 80 million.
A lot of people are cutting the cord. It's just too expensive for cable.
But just think about that. But if you poll, if it's 330 million people, it's at least 300 million televisions. Even though people don't that's how many televisions. But I tell you, and if it's 330 million people, there's well over 330 million phones.
Oh,
right? Because
absolutely.
Some people got more than one phone. They have an electronic devices. That's just that, right? And excluding the kids and everything like that. It don't matter. So you have this device in your hand that you can, that's the target. What is on that device? Majority of people have some form of social media or have something where you're either going to be doing social media marketing, you're going to be doing something with text, because that's what reaches people right away. Not everybody is going to have time or see it beneficial to them to hop on and watch their show. A lot of people watching their shows, and they're watching their shows on their phone in their bed.
That's what when I track everything, the most viewership for all of the shows that I do are from the phone. People watch. That's why I have the two views, because the biggest viewership comes from cell phones, and that's something that can be tracked on my YouTube channel. It tells me the device that people use to watch our shows, whether it's the phone, computer, a tablet, or smart TV. It tells me. And by far, I think it's 70% cell phone, which I never would have expected. But I mean, also being on Spotify, I mean, that helps too. But actually, YouTube wouldn't track that. But yeah, I was just surprised to see that cell phone. It's a cell phone.
And I'm going to take a moment, because the old-fashioned word of mouth is always good. And so I want to throw a shout out
absolutely.
to my buddy.
Yes.
Jared Detter sent me a copy of his book, Breaking into Real Estate Investing, and I was published. He acknowledged me.
Please get him on.
Myself and a few other local guys. So Jared Detter's book, Breaking into Real Estate Investing, I'm going to see if he'll be a guest, because he's a hostage negotiator, a police psychologist.
Yeah, what a background.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And he was an incredible athlete. He ran the 300 hurdles, which I can't even run 300 meters, let alone hurdling an object there. So hopefully we can get him on soon. But that is one way, and we talked about that before, becoming raving fans of other people's businesses is playing into the law of reciprocity. If you want people to be a big fan of your business, be great at it, but then be a big fan of other people's businesses too. It's just a good way to do business.
No, I agree. And thank you guys. It was an excellent episode. Can't wait to see the clips that come out of this.
I just want to know one thing. How many items have you folded in this 90
Hey,
minutes?
man, he does it all. He's a business owner. He said he never asks anyone to do what he won't do. He's a great
Amazing.
folder,
That's
too.
great. Hey,
He's
but
great.
I tell people I'm not above it. I'm beyond it, bro. That's why
I love it. I love it. This is a great example. Fresh is here. He's working his balls off, and he's doing the show. And he's
quite a bit.
It's amazing.
He does it all. He does
Quite
it
a bit.
all.
Probably
Renaissance.
well over 100. So
That's awesome, dude. That's almost an item a minute, dude.
Yeah.
Let
I gotta
know.
ask.
Employees know if I can do it this fast, y'all can do it this fast too. You probably
I gotta
don't even
ask
have
Fresh
one of those
something.
folding boards, do you? You just
Nope.
straight up.
No, he's rapid fire. I love it. So
folding
for Laban Marsh, the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Nedvonne Young, FreshFold Laundry Company. And boy, we will emphasize the folding right now.
Yes.
Chapel Hill, North
Don't
Carolina.
talk about it. Be about it.
my-freshfold.com. I got it right.
That was it.
Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life. Fresh can't do the spin. There we go.